January 2011, Osaka, Japan. 39-year-old Atsushi Yamagami is in the final planning stages of a complicated scheme. He wants to smuggle 55 rare and endangered turtles and tortoises into the U.S. He stands to make as much as $500,000 on the black market with this one trip.
There's a lot of money to be made in smuggling turtles and tortoises. These are hobbyist collectors that are willing to pay anywhere from $300 up to $10,000 for a little animal that's about 2 inches to 3 inches in size.
Turtles are a very ancient animal. They've been around for maybe 200 million years. And it's only been relatively recently they've become popular in the pet trade.
But before Atsushi can cash in, he will have to secretly get the reptiles onto a flight in Japan. Lucky for him, he's an old pro at this sort of thing.
Yamagami was a major player. He wasn't a lone wolf. He basically led a small organized group of people. He paid couriers. He had lieutenants that helped arrange deals. I mean, it was a full business.
At times, Atsushi leaves the dirty work to his cronies, and they smuggle the animals for him. But on this trip, he decides he's going to travel to the U.S. with one of his mules, a man named Norihide Ushirizako.
You know, it's almost inexplicable as to why Yamagami would have taken the risk. He was after money, he was after profits. He was willing to trade in threatened and endangered species to line his pockets. And over the course of the years, he became the world's most wanted turtle and tortoise smuggler.
Atsushi comes up with a clever way to smuggle the reptiles onto the plane.
The plan was placing the turtles and tortoises in canvas bags and then placing them in snack boxes. So it appeared that the tourists were bringing snack boxes for relatives or friends that you can't get it here in the United States.
To keep the turtles hydrated during the 13-hour flight, he adds a moist paper napkin into the boxes.
Reptiles are popular with smugglers because they don't require as much food and water as mammals or birds. If you keep them cool, they'll stay still and dormant, so they can be very easy to smuggle.
What Atsushi doesn't realize is that fish and wildlife agents have been keeping an eye on him for several months, just waiting for the right moment to catch him red-handed. They've dubbed their investigation Operation Flying Turtle, and they're hoping this trip will be their chance to take down this kingpin.
He was bringing in literally a dozen or more different species of rare and endangered turtles and tortoises. This case gave the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service the opportunity to take out an entire smuggling ring in one fell swoop.
With his cargo discreetly packed, Atsushi and Norihide board the plane without incident. But smuggling reptiles can have deadly consequences.
Turtles and tortoises that are under 4 inches in diameter carry salmonella. Salmonella is a potentially fatal disease. Even in countries like the United States, if a small child or somebody that's immune compromised contracts salmonella, it can be lights out.
In the U.S. alone, about 400 people die from salmonella poisoning each year. Now, they get off the plane in Los Angeles. They're only moments away from pulling off yet another bold smuggling scheme. But first, they'll have to evade fish and wildlife agents who are staked out and waiting.
We would basically surveil the entire flight coming off of that gate and try to pick out Yamagami and Ushirizako and follow them all the way through.
But as a virtual sea of passengers funnels through the busy airport, agents start to be concerned.
The hard part is you got 300 passengers off of this flight, so it's chaos and it's not easy.
The crowded airport may be the exact cover the men need to slip out of sight.
There's always a risk that we might not track them, even though we know that they're actually on the flight. So they're both probably freaking out at the point of referring to secondary because they know there's going to be a pretty thorough examination. We didn't know where the turtles were or, if they were carrying them at all. They could be anywhere. They could be on their body. They could be in their carry-on, their checked luggage.
The moment of truth occurred when they opened the suitcase and opened that first snack box. They found these little 2 to 3 inch turtles just crammed and stuffed inside the boxes. They struck gold, literally reptilian gold, with those turtles and tortoises.
These turtles are worth tens of thousands of dollars on the black market.
I've been doing this for 22 years, and I thought I had seen it all, but I've never seen turtles and tortoises in snack boxes.
The smugglers are caught red-handed, with nowhere to run.
I think it's safe to say that they had no idea this was coming. They were blindsided.
The agents have their men, but they're still concerned about the turtles' potentially fatal impact.
So not only was this individual and his smuggling ring depleting these species, in the wild, but they were literally putting their customers at risk by selling them wild animals that could very well be harboring salmonella.
The reptiles are delicately removed from the boxes and examined. Luckily, all 55 check out healthy, and they're sent to educational institutes.
The good thing is that at the end of the story, there was a great happy ending for the turtles and tortoises. But by the same token, there was a not so happy ending for Yamagami and his couriers, because each and every one of them pled guilty to felony violations of United States law.
Atsushi is sentenced to 21 months in federal prison and is forced to pay an $18,000 criminal fine. And Norihide gets 7 months behind bars.
There is no doubt that Operation Flying Turtle is one of the most satisfying cases that I've ever worked on. Not only did we take down the kingpin, but we took down his couriers.